In the distant past, some 50,000 years ago, a colossal and fearsome creature roamed the earth, dominating the vast landscapes of mainland Australia. Named Megalania by Sir Richard Owen, this colossal species of goanna was the largest terrestrial lizard the planet has ever known, stretching an impressive 5.5 meters in length and potentially reaching heights of up to 7 meters for the largest specimens. However, its size was not its only defining feature. Megalania was also one of the most potent and dangerous carnivores to walk the earth since the fall of the dinosaurs. For nearly 1.5 million years, Megalania ruled the Australian continent, leaving behind only a few skeletal fragments as testament to its existence. The exact size of this formidable reptile remains a subject of debate. But based on these fragments, we estimate its body to be of immense proportions, with a weight of roughly 600 kilograms. Its stocky legs, long, heavy tail, tough skin and powerful jaws full of sharp, serrated teeth were all instruments of fear and destruction. But perhaps its most deadly weapon was a venomous bite, a hemotoxin that stopped its prey's blood from clotting, causing them to lose strength and eventually succumb. Megalania lived during the Pleistocene epoch, from 1.5 million to just 50,000 years ago, though its family, the Varangian lizards, are believed to have emerged significantly as early as the Cretaceous period. These lizards may have originated in Southeast Asia and later migrated to Australia across land bridges and island chains, where they evolved and diversified into sometimes giant species like Megalania. During its lifespan, Megalania lived primarily in eastern and southern Australia, where it dominated a range of biomes. Most of our fossils come from open forests, grasslands and woodlands, areas with a mix of open spaces and dense vegetation. In these mixed environments, Megalania hid among bushes and trees, creating opportunities to ambush its prey. When an animal came too close, Megalania lunged at its prey and delivered deadly bites, capable of killing some of the largest animals of the period. Fossil evidence suggests that Megalania preyed upon a wide range of animals, including some of the biggest mammals to ever live in Australia. One iconic prey animal was the Diprotodon, a giant marsupial, almost like an oversized wombat that stood almost 2 meters tall at the shoulder and weighed over 2,500 kilos. Diprotodon was strong and bulky, but its slow movements made it vulnerable to clever ambush predators like Megalania. Diprotodon wasn't the only mammal that lived in fear of Megalania. During the same period, Australia was home to the largest known species of kangaroo, known as Procoptodon. At 2 meters tall, Procoptodon would have towered over most ancient Australian life and had extremely powerful hind legs, capable of delivering devastating kicks. And even Procoptodon was no match for the world's largest and deadliest lizard. While Megalania was primarily a hunter, it was likely also an effective scavenger, feeding on the carcasses of large animals killed by other predators. Because of its tremendous size, Megalania may have bullied other predators, leveraging its strength to steal their dinner. After dragging the carcass away, Megalania used its wide jaw and powerful throat muscles to rapidly swallow big chunks of meat. Like other goannas, it was not only a fast eater, but an efficient one, able to consume everything from meat to bones, organs, and tough skin. But Megalania was not alone in its reign of terror. Paleontologists believe Megalania competed throughout the Pleistocene epoch with other kinds of carnivorous megafauna. One of its primary competitors was the thylacoleo, informally known as the marsupial lion. Thylacoleo was not related to modern cats, but it shared some features, like big, grasping claws and a powerful bite. Weighing up to 160 kilograms, these lion-sized carnivores mostly hid among dense vegetation, stalking their prey and then pouncing for the kill. People evidence suggest that Thylacoleo preyed upon many of the same grazers and browsers as Megalania, such as Procoptodon. These two apex predators may have clashed over territory and food sources, perhaps occasionally fighting to the death. Megalania also faced competition from other large reptiles, specifically Quincana, a giant terrestrial crocodile. Quincana appeared on our planet in the late Oligocene epoch, about 25 million years ago, as an unusual descendant of ancient crocs. Unlike its modern relatives, which spend much of their lives underwater, Quincana was fully adapted to life on land. It had longer and more vertical legs than modern crocs, plus a more agile body. From head to tail, it measured from 3 to 6 meters long, similar in size to today's saltwater crocodiles. Unsurprisingly, Quincana was one of the top predators of its day, with blade-like teeth designed for slicing through skin. Probably inhabited open forests and woodlands, hunting marsupials and other reptiles, though we don't have direct fossil evidence of conflicts between Megalania and Quincana. These giant reptiles almost certainly crossed paths. In addition to other predators, Megalania likely sparred with members of its own kind. Assuming Megalania behaved like Komodo dragons today, adult males may have lived a solitary lifestyle. They could have roamed across large geographic ranges, driving out other predators that were attempted to hunt or live on their land. If a rival male intruded on their territory, they were quick to assert their dominance. Conflicts between males probably led to violent territorial disputes. Megalania, like Komodo dragons, may have been immune to its own potential venom, but its sharp teeth and claws were still plenty deadly. However, its most dangerous competitors were not giant mammals or reptiles, but human beings. In 65,000 and 50,000 years ago, the first settlers, known as Aboriginal Austra, aliens, migrated from Southeast Asia across land bridges and short sea crossings. We don't know the exact routes they took, but they likely traveled across the Indonesian archipelago, landing on the north side of the Australian mainland. Paleontologists believe that Megalania survived long enough to encounter the first wave of Australian settlers. Aside from temporal overlap, some of the most compelling evidence comes directly from indigenous folklore. In their stories, powerful, monstrous lizards, like the hui, trampled the ground and shaped the landscape as we know it today. It was said these monsters were so gigantic that they could devour entire tribes of people in a single meal. The Aboriginal Australians also referenced other giant reptilian predators, like the rainbow serpent, a creator deity that was probably inspired by real prehistoric snakes. There's no direct proof any of these monsters described actual animals in nature. Instead, these were mythical exaggerated descriptions that probably helped early Australians conceptualize a strange new world. Regardless, these giant reptiles remain a fixture of indigenous mythology and played an important role in this ancient culture. In stories, Megalania terrorized early settlers, but in reality, humans may have driven the world's largest lizard to extinction. A single human hardly stood a chance against Megalania. But as humans spread across the continent, they dramatically influenced Australia's ecosystems. Indigenous land management practices, for example, involved burning large areas of vegetation to reduce or encourage growth. These controlled fires altered local environments, causing changes in vegetation and animal distributions. Many species were also hunted by humans for their meat, hides, and fur. For example, populations of large browsers, like Diprotodon and Procopodon, rapidly decreased around the same time humans settled on the Australian mainland. With their habitats distorted and food sources depleted, Megalania was one of many large animals unfit to survive in a human-dominated world. Eventually, this large and deadly predator disappeared from the continent completely. Humans played an important role in the extinction of Megalania and other large animals during the late Pleistocene. However, megafauna were already vulnerable due to significant shifts in the Earth's climate, including a big trend towards aridity. These changing conditions affected interior regions, like the Australian outback, where many plant species died off and water became hard to find. The largest species, like Megalania, struggled during these times of scarcity, requiring more food and water than most animals. They also reproduced very slowly, making it difficult for the populations to bounce back when their habitats and food sources dwindled. Megalania did not live to see the modern world, but its legacy remains alive today. The study of this ancient creature provides us with key insights into one of the most dynamic and fascinating periods on our planet, when giant terrestrial mammals and reptiles lived side by side. However, much of what we know about history's largest lizard comes from limited fossil evidence. As new fossils and specimens come to light, we may discover that Megalania was even more extraordinary than we thought.